Welcome to the workshop of how to stop yelling at your kids. If you're a busy mum or an entrepreneurial mum, you may have come to moments where you're at loggerheads with your kids and you are escalated, your children are escalated, and the yelling match has begun. So, what do you do when you are tired, overwhelmed, exhausted, and so are your kids, to bring the conversation and bring the environment at your home down? This workshop is going to provide you with a little strategy that you can use anywhere at any time, and it doesn't matter how old your children are. It's a wonderful tool that you can have in your parent tool belt, and it also will apply to your business life, your friendship life, and even your relationship advice. I hope you enjoy this workshop. My name is Carly Mayfield, and I am a mum's coach. I look forward to working with you throughout this workshop. Today's topic is something that I have had great success with in the classroom, and it's like one of those little tricks that you can have in your back pocket as a mum, as an educator, as a coach for if you're dealing with and interacting with children. And it also doesn't have to just be for dealing with children. The research has shown that this is an amazing tool to have for engaging in teams, to increase productivity, to create a positive change in culture, and to set a really good vibe for within yourself. So the topic today is, how do you stop yelling at your kid and speak to them in a positive way? So I'm sure that we are all human as we connect today, and that we have often had or frequently have moments where we lose it. And this is not a space where we come to judge. This is a space where we come to connect, to learn, and to embrace as a community. And I myself, as a mum, have yelled at my kids. And because why? I'm human. But one of the things that I would love to share with you today is a strategy that you can use, like I said, with children, or even it works very well when working with adults and in teams, to create a positive culture, positive change in behavior, and to also keep a positive environment in a workplace or within a home. So, what let's start off with is what's happening. What's happening when you get to the point of yelling? So, as a busy mum or an entrepreneurial mum, have a look and have a think about, is there a specific time of day or a specific thing that seems to trigger me not being able to regulate how I communicate with my children? For me, I know that one of my triggers is if I haven't had enough sleep. If I've had a few days where I've had terrible night's sleep for whatever reason, I find that my ability to handle a situation is reduced, and I'm sure that other mums will sort of regulate with, or connect with that. Sorry. So that's okay. And if you do yell at your kids, that is also okay. But what we want to know is, when I am at that feeling of I'm just getting snappy and it seems to be a consistent behavior, what can I do? I am within myself, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I myself have all these huge emotions, I'm tired, I don't have the patience to regulate myself very well. And you're coming up with another person who is also not able to regulate themselves that well. And there seems to be that clash. And that's often when the voice escalates, the language changes, and then it creates a cycle. Children will often mimic, and they will uh, reach you where you are at. So what we can do, if you have had a moment or a few days or a few hours of being yelling and at each other, take a moment for yourself. If you can, find a quiet space, take a couple of deep breaths, and try and go, okay, what's done is done, and implement this strategy. It is amazing. It is a shift that can change your perspective, and also it can de-escalate the children in the environment, or it can start to collaborate with the team. And that is using the scientific research done that when you are communicating with someone, use more praise than negative. Using more positive words to negative. There is a really, really sweet spot, and it's 5.6 praise to 1 negative. But this needs to be done in a really authentic way. And that's where I feel when a parent is, or a mum is, or a leader is in that point where they themselves are really at that point where they might be escalated, they might be exhausted, they might have cognitive overload, they might have stress. Finding that language can be really, really hard. So here are some tips on how you can, and what sort of languages you can use and sentence starters that you can have that will help you to bring in that, we'll just say 6, we'll round it up to 6 positive things you can say in a genuine and authentic way to your child, to 1 negative. So when your child is generally, you're at that yelling match, their behavior generally isn't good. And it can be really hard to try and find positive things that are genuine. So one of the fantastic things that you can do, it doesn't always have to be verbal. It can also be non-verbal communication, a thumbs up or a wink. It depends on how you generally interact with your child. I often do a thumbs up, and that's something that is comfortable and normal for my kids. And just even a nod of acknowledgement, and this is something that we would do in the classroom, is, I see you, smile, I acknowledge you, that's great, thumbs up. That can be a genuine, it may not be perfect behavior that you're praising, but what you're praising is the journey that they have gone along from being in that space that was not so positive, and they're moving forward. You're praising the positive change. It may not be perfect yet, but that you are praising the positive change through a nod, through a smile, through I see you, good job. And then you've also got the verbal communication that you can have. So thinking the ratio 6 was 5.6 to 1. So for example, you could nod, gesture, thumbs up, there's 3. Then you could say, I can see you're making some good choices. Well done. So they may not be quite there at that positive behavior, but you are acknowledging their effort and their journey towards positive behavior. And that's a great start. I see you're really sticking to this task. I see you're really trying. Well done. And so then as you see they're changing in behavior, it gives them encouragement. It gives them acknowledgement. It makes them feel supported. It makes them feel safe. So that is why it is really, really beneficial, rather than escalating. If a child is presenting challenging behavior, instead of escalating it with threat upon threat and yelling and abstaining things, that is taking away and depleting them, but it's not teaching them, 1, the strategy of how to fix the inappropriate or undesired behavior, and 2, it's lowering their confidence and feeling that disconnect, and they haven't got that support to be able to make that change. So identifying bad behavior is not terrible, and saying, especially, saying stop. We need to stop. We need to have a look at what we're doing. Is this safe? Is this fair? Having a look at their behavior when it's inappropriate, challenging, or negative. Stop and acknowledge. Take a moment. And then take a moment for yourself, because you may have been escalated. You may have been triggered. You might be emotionally tense, and say, okay, let's move forward. And then come back to your child and say, great start. I see that you're working towards it. Great job. A wink, a thumbs up. Humor for me is a really big thing that I use to break that barrier when a child is super tense. And it's a very personal thing, and it is something that it doesn't work for everyone, but it's within my personality trait. So you have to do what is in alignment with you as a parent. If you are a joker, that you can use humor to be able to bring that behavior down from the edge and bring your emotions down, and you can acknowledge how you feel. Say, oh yeah, that was heavy. How you feeling? And that is another way of teaching them that I'm regulating my emotions and that I'm a bit triggered. And you know what? Let's do this. Let's make this a really positive afternoon or positive moment. But remember, there's a special, special sweet spot. 5.6 praise to 1 negative. So I hope that helps when you are in that moment and you've noticed yourself yelling and that you're agitated with your child. Take that moment, or even with your team at work, take that moment, take a breath and think about, and it'll change your mindset from looking at all the negative things, and it'll start to see, how can I address this situation? What is positive in this environment? What do I, as an educator, leader, or parent, need to change to make this a more supportive environment? And acknowledge changes in behavior, small efforts that are done to create an environment that is supportive, that is where people feel loved and acknowledged, and also that is full of positive words, because the more the children hear you using a language that is positive, kind, and supportive, it allows them to internalize it, allows them to use it within their friendship contexts as well, rather than introducing and promoting negative language all the time. Thank you for joining me on this workshop. It's been wonderful having you here. To say thank you very much for investing in this time in yourself and for your family, I have also included a free downloadable resource. They are a variety of different like affirmation cards that you can use, or sentence starters that you can use to help you when you are feeling triggered and you're feeling overwhelmed, you are stressed, and you are at that point where you find yourself that you are yelling more often than not. These cards are a wonderful tool to use as sentence starters to change that negative talk that you are having into a more positive tone. And they are also a variety of non-verbal cues that you can do. This is just a visual reminder to have with you, and that you can download, and also that you can use to work through with your child if they are experiencing troubles with friendship as well. If you would like to learn more about how you can manage yourself as an entrepreneurial mum, and to get not only success within your business, but to also feel success as a mum, I offer one-to-one coaching, where we offer a customized program where we work through not only how you are going as a business person, but also as a mum. And I specialize in having a look at your life in terms of your productivity, but also having a look at what you and your children are needing for them to both thrive. So if you are interested in learning more about one-to-one coaching, I have included the details below as well. And I look forward to hearing more about your wonderful mum journeys, and have fun being a mum.